we're finally able to talk about the brand new Nothing Ear and the Nothing Ear A. Both are brand new earbuds from Nothing that provide us an upgrade experience from what we've seen before. Longer battery life, better performance, IP rating. But not only that, at the end of the day, we also have a new design, a new, I guess, contender in the series, and that's the A series, the more affordable option of the two that we have in here. But do not let the price point decide for you, because both of them are feature packed and both of them now last even longer. This is TK and this is my review of the Nothing Ear and the Nothing Ear A. Let's check them out and find out which one is the right one for you. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So here we have them in front of us. This is the Nothing Ear, and then this is the Nothing Ear A. The biggest thing I'll probably say is we've had the Nothing Ear 1, the Ear Stick, and the Ear 2. This actually just called the Nothing Ear. So this is pretty much kind of like a start over for this line. And this is kind of going to be the, I would say basically the more feature-packed version between the two. The Ear A, although, comes in a very nice unique color, which I really like. And this is the yellow color option that we haven't seen before. But both of them are still featuring that very nice unique experience when it comes down to the casing. Now this, just for reference, they do not come like this. They come with obviously the orange or the yellow ear tips. I replaced them just to kind of combine the two since I had access to both of them, and they both use the same ear tips, which is definitely very nice. But the biggest difference I'll probably say is this. This is a very familiar look. If you've ever used the Ear 2s, you know definitely what they look like. This is very much a similar experience when it comes down to the button placement, the USB-C, the wireless charging, but it does actually improve a little bit as far as battery life and functionality over what we had with the Ear 2, which was released not that long ago. But at the end of the day, we're looking at both of these devices, and both of them come with pretty much what you see in here. A pre-assembled earbuds with case, and of course the ability of charging them wirelessly or wiredly. On the right side, we have access to the additional ear tips that are included. So they do include a large and a small. They do come with ones already built in. And of course, a USB-C to C cable, or basically just a charging cable to connect to your PC and charge. And of course, not to be forgotten is the instruction manual to be able to actually, in case you need that, it's included in the box. The ear also includes pretty much the same exact experience, except that obviously the ear tips themselves are going to be white. And that's one of the things I want to keep in mind. Again, I replaced the ones here just for the aesthetic look, a USB-C to C cable. And of course, last but not least, is the instruction manual in case you'd be able to, or if you need it, it's included in the box. Before we get into the application and some of the things you're able to do on the app, I do want to talk about a couple of things overall. Performance-wise, both of them are featuring very much the same 11mm custom drivers that are built in here. Both of them are featuring a see-through case configuration with a USB-C connector. One is on the side, one is on the back. They do have a pairing button on the side next to this one with the ear, and on the Ears A is actually positioned inside, so the button's actually positioned on the opposite side of the LED. Both are wired charging directly and magnetically connected in here, and there's a red color indicator on the earbud as well as the casing on both of them, so you know exactly which ones it is, and it is magnetically connected, so you're not going to have any problems. And then pretty much the same thing here with the ear, as you can see here, magnetically connected, it charges. We still have the indicator color here, so you know exactly which earbud goes where. But the difference between the two, of course, is that this actually has wireless charging, which is a little bit different than the Ears A. So there is no wireless charging on the Ears A, but both of them charge quite fast, and that's one of the biggest benefits. They both support LDAC, and of course, one of the biggest things I'll probably say is AAC and SBC audio codec. But the ear here also supports LHDC, which is also a little bit higher than LDAC and what we've seen there. And of course, it only works with supported devices like the Nothing Phone 2 that we have here in the background. So here is a close-up look. As you can see, we have the Nothing logo, a little bit of an LED sitting in there. USB-C connector here for charging. This is wired charging, a pairing button when you want to connect it to a new device. It does support Google Fast Pair, so if you just put it next to a device that hasn't been paired to it before, it'll automatically directly recognize it and give you guys access to get connected. Otherwise, the wireless pad, charging pad is on the bottom here, and it actually does charge the casing that we have in here. And one of the biggest difference between this and the earlier generation, so the Ear 2 specifically, the buds now are rated to go up to 5.2 hours with active noise cancellation and up to 8.5 hours with active noise cancellation turned off. With the case, we're basically able to get somewhere around the 40 to 40.5 hours worth of usage without ANC and up to 24 hours with ANC. So the benefit here is not only are you going to be able to go longer, better performance, better IP rating, but also the ability of actually getting them to be used longer included with the case. So you're definitely not going to be losing out. It's still not going to be the longest battery life on an earbud, but a much bigger improvement over what we've seen before. And this is actually where the Ear A shines a little bit more. The Ear A actually features something very similar. The same 11mm, basically the drivers that we have in here. 3 microphones and a touch configuration on both. That's going to be for both the Ear A and the standard ear. The only thing difference here is that actually the battery life on here does actually go a little bit longer. So the buds themselves can go about 5.5 hours with active noise cancellation, and up to 9.5 hours without, and up to 42.5 hours without any active noise cancellation when you're using it with the battery that's included in the case. There is no wireless charging, but the charging on the wire here should be pretty fast, and it is going to give you guys the ability of getting back up and running real quick. You are able to use the buds independently. You don't have to have both of them on, and that's again very true to what we have down there. Now this one does support LDAC, where the other one supports LDAC and LHDC, but both for me right now are going to be really nice, especially with those 3 microphones that we have in here. Let's go outside real quick and do a quick test of the Clear Voice Technology 3.0 that's coming in on the ear A and the ear. Starting off with the first pair, we have 3 microphones, and that's going to give us the ability to be able to get some clear audio as you're listening to right now. I'm using the S24 Ultra, and I'm recording the audio using the Video Pro app. So the audio you're listening to are coming straight from the actual earbuds. And this should be a good example of if, let's say, you're using them from video calls, voice memos, anything that requires audio from there. And also a little bit of a, kind of how the surroundings audio is. There's a few birds chirping in the background. Hopefully we're not listening to them too much. Of course, a little bit of bugs going on, but otherwise, this is a good example of what the audio is from the Nothing Ears. Now let's switch over to the Ears A. Okay, and just like that, we're now on the Nothing Ears A. Again, the more affordable option of the two, but I would actually argue that they're both very comparable when it comes to the experience, as both of them feature 3 microphones. The audio, for the most part, should be pretty much identical. We're talking about the same tech, the same capabilities. Again, I'm still using it with the S24 Ultra, and this should be a good example of what the Ear A are going to offer you at that price point, because not only are you saving a little bit of money, but also you're getting that unique colorway that we're getting here, as well as the new shape case that we have. A few features separate the two, but I feel like they're very close when it comes down to audio performance, especially when it comes to the microphones on here. And even on the earbuds themselves, the codecs are slightly different, but the battery life gets a little bit better with the Ears A. Now, to be able to configure the buds themselves, you do need to either have a Nothing phone, which will automatically recognize the buds, and you can configure them using the Bluetooth configuration. So let's go ahead and open up the Ear A. Ear A is basically the more affordable version of the two, although I think both of them are very nice and very powerful. So you notice automatically it reconnected there. I'm actually going to jump in real quick here and switch over. Let's go back. And we're going to select the Ear A, and that's the one that's actually connected. And you notice it does connect to both. And both of them feature that same functionality, dual connection with high audio quality. So you'll notice I'm connected at LDAC, and that's something that we typically don't see with a lot of other companies, where when they give you dual connection, you typically have to drop the audio experience because of the transmission configuration. Here, we're connected, we're using LDAC, and I have them connected to both smartphones. The audio that we saw just a second ago with the microphones was recorded here on the S24 Ultra, but again, you're able to configure them and use them just the same. So as far as configuration, you notice the GUI is a little bit different. I can see the battery configuration here for the case and the buds. I can go in there. Now, obviously it says off because they're not put in there. If I take them out and I put them directly in, it'll jump directly into the last configuration that I had before. And if I press and hold on the actual buds themselves, I'm actually able to jump in and go straight into active noise cancellation, or the noise cancellation option that we see in there. And we're able to configure it between high, mid, low, or adaptive, which is kind of like their audio. Transparency mode is going to be pretty much what you're using if you want to be able to listen to something outside. Very simple. You click it directly either in the app. There's a little bit of an auditory, I would say basically an auditory cue telling you that you're jumping into that. And of course, you're able to hear better outside. And of course, we have gesture control, in-ear detection on both of them. We also have low lag mode on both of them. High quality audio does require you to turn this toggle on. It is not on by default. If you turn this on, you'll be able to support, or as long as your device supports LDAC, you'll be able to get it there, or obviously jump into AAC or LHDC. Now, LHDC is only supported on the ear, and that's going to be something we're going to check out in a second. Again, as I mentioned to you guys, we have the dual connection. You're able to unpair or basically disconnect the second connection from here. Now, this is present on both sides here as far as the ability of configuring it. So if you go into the settings in here and you can go into directly into dual connection, you'll see the same option is present here. Just keep in mind, this is where you're running the Nothing application. This is the Nothing X app that allows us to connect and configure our buds. And here we're just using it through the Bluetooth settings, which is really nice and built in directly. Find My Earbuds is built in there, and of course we do have the ear tip fit test that we have, HD audio for LDAC, phone calls, media, of course, contact and sharing, all of that, and then that just jumped into the serial number and firmware. There was one update that I did receive when I first got the buds, and other than that, they've been actually working fantastic. So really nice and very simple. Once I take them out of my ear, you can put them back in here, and it's going to disconnect directly from both devices and go back into just waiting mode. So let's go ahead and open up the Nothing Ear on the left here. I'll give it a second. It is connected directly with LHDC here. As you can notice here, the audio codec is LHDC. And one of the other things, we can still see the information. So slightly different, but again, you're getting a much better experience here. We have the EQ configuration, the ability of jumping between the different buds, or as far as the actual audio, noise cancellation, transparency, or if just jumping into it, and again, configuring it on the right side. Bass enhancements is built in there. We have gesture control, similar in-ear detection, low lag mode, again, personal sound profile, which is a little bit different than what we have here, where you're able to go through and the actual app will tune the audio experience on the buds depending on how your ears are responding. So you definitely get a better experience there. We talked about the fact that we have dual connection, Find My Earbuds ear fit test here, enables us to make sure that we're using the right ear tips to get the best experience. HD audio with LHDC. One thing to keep in mind when we're using them on a nothing phone or a phone that doesn't support LHDC, it is pretty much just going to default back down to LDAC because LDAC is widely supported. LHDC is available on a lot of devices, but unfortunately, for some reason, Samsung doesn't seem to support it on their devices. Media audio, phone audio, of course, Find My Device, and again, firmware, pretty much the same exact experience. I received one update, and that was in there. On the Samsung device, since I'm using the app, you'll notice here we're able to jump in, configure the EQ. We can go to advanced, change that. Controls, pretty much the same configuration of what we've seen before. Noise control, very similar to what we see here, except it's kind of under a menu here. Very simple, and again, you can customize it. We have the ability of customizing the bass experience, increasing the bass or turning it on or turning it off, and of course, changing the intensity level. And I will say both sound very good. Both are going to be really nice for people that that like a little bit more emphasis on the mids and lows, especially for EDM dance or basically hip hop or rap music. Visually, when you have them in your ears, for the most part, unless you're looking at a specific color, you're not really going to be able to tell the difference between the two. There's a few visual cues. You'll notice here more of a silver presence here as opposed to more of a darker tone on the right side. But both of them are featuring the 11mm drivers. Both of them have the 3 microphones with the, of course, what we talk about is the clear voice technology. As you heard there, I was outside and the audio was absolutely clear and it was focused on me as the speaker. Now, I really like also the fact that the buds themselves are IP54 rated, which means a little bit of water, a little bit of a sprinkle is not going to damage them. And of course, the case itself is IP55, which provides you the ability of actually getting a little bit better of an experience there in case, God forbid, if something spills on your hands or something when you're holding the case, you're not going to have to worry about it. Wireless charging in here, of course, as opposed to what we don't have it on the side. But again, I think what they're doing here is they're just basically saying, look, if you want a really good sound experience from both of them, you're not going to be disappointed. If you want a few extra features here and there to be able to make one better than the other, maybe better codec, obviously wireless charging and so on, I feel like the Nothing Ear is definitely providing us enough justification for that. Where the Nothing Ear A still gives us that core sound experience and definitely saves us a few bucks. Now, from an aesthetic look, just again, I'm putting one bud from each one in each ear just to kind of show you guys how they would look like. Very simple, very clean. And now both of them feature the ability of actually pinching them to be able to change or use the gestures that we have in here. Now, I like this over the touch functionality because it's a little bit more precise and you actually are able to predict exactly how it's going to work. Touching them or tapping on things sometimes is a different experience because depending where you are, you may not tap them correctly. There end up being more mistouch configurations. Here, you're pretty much solid, you're ready to go. And again, if you're using them independently, like one bud at a time, which I'm able to do right now, active noise cancellation is turned off automatically because again, you can't really do active noise cancellation if you only have it in one ear. The other ear kind of cancels anything that it does. The noise cancellation is supposed to be rated to go up to 45 decibels, reduction of about 45 decibel outside, which is a little bit higher than what we've seen before, at about 40. Although I'll probably say this realistically, the right ear tip or basically the tips that they give you in the packaging, using the right one will also augment that experience. If you're using the wrong one, if they say the earbuds are actually sitting in your ear, but they're a little bit loose, there's going to be a lot of noise leakage coming in. But when you have any music turned on, absolutely, you're on your own world and you're just enjoying the music to the next level. Custom EQs, audio profiles, of course, the ability of customizing the bass level. You can push it a little bit more. I think this is some of the few features here that they kind of put in with the ear over the ear A because they're trying to give you more of a bang for the buck. And you're getting a really good one with both of these. Now, the battery life on both of these are technically longer than what we've seen before, obviously a lot longer on the ear A. But that's also coming down to the features and the functions that we have in here. If you turn off A and C, if you're playing your music at about 50 to 60%, you're probably not going to hear that many things around you. The battery life on both of these are definitely going to be much better, somewhere around the 8 to 9 hours. And that's actually perfect, because then I'll be able to take them with me on a flight from LA to New York, not a problem. And even if I'm traveling internationally, obviously this is going to definitely, your mileage may vary depending on the volume level that you're playing, and of course how many features you have turned on. LHDC definitely is nice, and you do need to find a music player that supports those functionalities to get the high quality audio. If you're just listening to YouTube and so on, for the most part, you don't really need to turn that on, and that may even give you a longer battery life. Now, as far as getting the best audio experience and the best bang for the buck experience on both of these buds, I'd probably say that obviously the Ear A may be a better choice for you, because LDAC is I would say maybe more accepted or more supported on devices out there, and you're probably not going to have any problems using it there. LHDC does work with a lot of devices, but not everybody supports them. Like, I know Nothing supports them, OnePlus devices, Xiaomi devices support them. Unfortunately, my S24 Ultra does not support LHDC, and that's, again, something that you just need to be keeping that in mind. It will default back to LDAC, but the question would be is, do you want to step up from the Ear A to the Ear for that feature alone? Let's go ahead and summarize and figure out which one is the right one for you. If you're looking at the price points, they're very similar, they're very close to each other. The few things that differentiate the two is the codec, the audio codec that we have, the wireless charging, the design that we have in here, and also the ability of customizing the audio experience a little bit more with that audio profile that allows us to actually play audio specifically designed for our ears. As you know, somebody in my age or somebody that's younger are going to have different listening experiences, and I've seen these features come in with other apps, and I really love the fact that they're in here. And that actually may make the audio experience, the overall audio experience, a little bit better for you. If you're looking for more of, again, general, very much a similar audio experience, LDAC support, longer battery life, but don't really care for that wireless charging, I feel like the Ear A here is definitely gonna knock it out of the park. And not only that, the design alone with the new colors, again, keep in mind, they're all gonna be all yellow, not necessarily having any of the white tips, but if you like to customize them and just kind of get that hybrid look like I got here going on with both the Ear and the Ear A, you're not gonna be disappointed. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of both the Ear and the Ear A? I think this is not only an improvement, this is Nothing listening to us and bringing in some of those recommendations that we've talked about before. The longer battery life for me was always my #1 Achilles heel for last year's or last generation's Ear 2. And nothing against the audio experience, I just wanted them to last me longer. I wanted them to carry me from LA to New York without having to put them back in the case. And not only now can we do that, but also we have the ability of going even longer if we customize the experience. And of course, we go with the Nothing Ear A. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support. I'll see you in the next video.